Is Brad Trailerving actually willing to bet $40 million and trade away Auston to acquire Jordan Kyrou, a player who's underperforming in St. Louis, just because Craig Berube believes he can resurrect his career? Or would this be the ultimate all-in gamble that destroys the organization if Kyrou continues to struggle? Let me set the stage for what's become an absolutely controversial proposal emerging from the trade market. It's Sunday, January 18th, 2026, and while everyone's been focused on a defensive crisis, discussing Dougie Hamilton, Rasmus Andersson, and Connor Murphy, Brad Trailerving is apparently exploring a completely different avenue. According to reports from Charlie McAfee, the Toronto Maple Leafs are being positioned as a surprise candidate to rescue Jordan Kyrou from the St. Louis Blues. The logic seems straightforward on the surface. The team needs a missing ingredient in the top six, and Coach Craig Berube knows this player better than anyone else. But here's where this proposal becomes genuinely controversial. The price being suggested, combined with Kyrou's current contract situation, transforms this from an intriguing possibility into a debate that's absolutely inflaming Leafs Nation. Let's first establish Jordan Kyrou's current situation in St. Louis. He's underperforming dramatically. Just 20 points in 38 games, far removed from his streak of 3 consecutive 30-goal seasons. The Blues are selling veterans. Brayden Schenn and Mark Falk have also been mentioned as potential trade pieces, and Kyrou is essentially on the auction block. The proposal is that playing alongside Auston Matthews and under command of Craig Berube would somehow resurrect Kyrou and turn him back into an 80-point star. That's the classic fix-the-player gamble, and it's a high-risk proposition. But here's the bombshell detail that completely changes the perception of Toronto's current roster. Matias Maccelli is already a Maple Leaf. Roster players like Bobby McMann and Matias Maccelli. In this timeline, Toronto already possesses Maccelli. The Finnish playmaker is known for his elite vision and playmaking ability. If he's already on the team and the offense still needs help, that tells you exactly how high the bar is for performance in Toronto. Including Maccelli and supposedly untouchable Auston in a package for a player making $8.1 million, who's currently playing poorly, seems absolutely insane, but defines the all-in mentality. Let's talk about the financial reality of this proposal. Kyrou makes $8.125 million for the next 5 seasons. That's not a short-term rental. That's a long-term financial commitment. If he comes to Toronto and continues playing poorly, the organization is stuck with an immovable contract that essentially closes the championship window. You can't have $8 million tied up in an underperforming winger when you're trying to compete for a Stanley Cup. Think about the opportunity cost here. With the defense desperately needing a replacement for Chris Tanev, whether that's Dougie Hamilton or Rasmus Andersson, spending $8 million on a winger feels like a luxury that the team simply cannot afford. You have to prioritize fixing the defense first, and then worry about upgrading the offense. The comparison to other potential acquisitions is also instructive. We've discussed Steven Stamkos, who's 35 years old but has proven playoff experience. We discussed Brayden Schenn, who brings veteran leadership. But Jordan Kyrou is a 27-year-old player who's currently underperforming and has 5 years remaining on his contract. That's a completely different risk profile. Here's what I think is actually happening. Craig Berube has apparently told Brad Trailerving that he can resurrect Jordan Kyrou's career. Berube believes that the right environment, the right line mates, and the right coaching can turn Kyrou back into a star. That's a compelling pitch from a coach who's won a Stanley Cup and knows how to develop talent. But it's also a pitch that comes with enormous risk. The question for Brad Trailerving is whether he trusts Craig Berube's evaluation of Kyrou enough to commit $40 million and trade away Auston Cowan. That's not just a roster decision. That's a fundamental statement about the organization's philosophy. You're saying that you believe in Berube's ability to fix players more than you believe in your own prospect development. The fan base reaction would also be absolutely brutal. Auston Cowan has stolen the spotlight from Nick Robertson. He's been performing at a high level, and he represents the future. Trading him away for Jordan Kyrou would be seen as organizational insanity by a significant portion of the fan base. But here's the counter-argument. If Berube actually can fix Kyrou, if Kyrou returns to his 30-goal, 80-point form, then you just added an elite winger to your top six alongside Matthews. That could be the final piece that transforms this team into a championship contender. That's the gamble Trailiving would be making. So here's the question for Leafs Nation. Should Brad Trailiving trade Auston Cowan and Matias Maccelli to acquire Jordan Kyrou and trust Craig Berube's ability to resurrect his career? Or should he refuse to sacrifice young talent for an underperforming veteran? Is Kyrou worth the risk and the financial commitment? Or should the organization focus on fixing the defense first and then worry about upgrading the offense? Would you support this trade if you were a Leafs fan? Or would you see it as organizational suicide? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that like button if you want more coverage of this potential acquisition and the strategic direction of the franchise. Because right now, the Maple Leafs are facing a fundamental choice about whether to pursue offense or defense, and the decision could define the entire trajectory of this season and beyond. The Chief apparently believes in Kyrou, and now it's up to Trailiving to decide if he shares that faith.